Since your routine of the day, I don't think probably has been interrupted other than the fact that you won't get any mail today. You may not even be aware that it's President's Day. If you were there a year ago or 2 or 3 years ago in high school, you'd probably be out doing something today. You're probably out of school. But before I get on to my topic this morning, I want to congratulate everybody that had anything to do with homecoming Saturday. That was a truly remarkably well put together event. I don't know who all did decorations and setting up for that and making the program work and go off that smoothly. I want to congratulate both the lady and the men's basketball teams for a couple of victories that day. So could we do that to start with this morning? President's Day is an American holiday celebrated on the 3rd day in February. Originally, it was connected with George Washington, and then President Lincoln's birthday, not very far apart between those two. Then those two sort of took on the appearance of President's Day. But then in 1971, the Uniform Monday Holiday Act was passed, and President's Day is now popularly viewed as a day to celebrate U.S. presidents past and present. And at the end of my presentation this morning, I do have a little video that I want to show. It's about 3.5 minutes, and it will give you a portrait, a picture, whatever you want to call it, of all of the presidents of the United States. But the main message, in keeping with the theme this week, is the connections of what some presidents have said with regard to our nation being a Christian nation. I hear people argue that today and say, well, the United States was never a Christian nation because all religions were recognized, and that is, I think, a true observation. But at the same time, when you start looking into the components of what's in the Declaration of Independence, what's in the United States Constitution, and how we practice a lot of what we do practice here in the United States, I think it'd be awfully hard to deny the Christian influence. I think you'd have to work very hard to do that, and I think it'd be intellectually dishonest, and I could say some other words that wouldn't be anywhere near that kind. But I won't. Abraham Lincoln said, "We have forgotten God. We have forgotten the gracious hand which preserved us in peace, multiplied and enriched and strengthened us. We have vainly imagined in the deceitfulness of our hearts that all these blessings were produced by some superior wisdom and virtue of our own. Intoxicated with unbroken success, we have become too self-sufficient to feel the necessity of redeeming and preserving grace, too proud to pray to the God that made us." Agree with Abraham Lincoln. Most of the others I have this morning are not nearly so long, but you can preach a sermon on what Lincoln said there real easily. George Washington, "It is impossible to rightly govern a nation without God and the Bible." I don't know, Ed, might want to demand his resignation. What's that word? Posthumously? For saying that today. Also, Washington said, "Though propitious smiles of heaven can never be expected on a nation that disregards the eternal rules of right and wrong, which heaven has ordained." Good. "We recognize no sovereign but God and no king but Jesus." John Adams. James Madison said, "We have staked the whole future of American civilization not on the power of government, far from it. We have staked the whole of our political institutions upon the capacity of mankind for self-government, upon the capacity of each and all of us to govern ourselves according to the commandments of God." The The future and success of America is not in this Constitution, but in the laws of God upon which this Constitution is founded. James Monroe. Before any man can be considered a member of civil society, he must be considered as a subject of governor of the universe. And to the same divine author of every good and perfect gift, we are indebted for all those privileges and advantages, religious as well as civil, which are so richly enjoyed in this favored land. John Kennedy. The rights of man come not from the generosity of the state, but from the hand of God. Ronald Reagan. If we ever forget that we are one nation under God, then we will be one nation gone under. We ask for God's help, and now in this shining outcome, in this magnificent triumph of good over evil, we should thank God. George H.W. Bush. I think that was after the Iraq War back in the early 1900s. Each day, millions of our citizens approach our Maker on bended knee, seeking His grace and giving us thanks for the many blessings He bestows upon us. That's George W. Bush. The Bible is the first and almost the only book deserving of universal attention. John Quincy Adams. Take all of the book upon reason, the Bible he speaks about here, that you can, and the rest by faith, and you will live and die a better man. Abraham Lincoln. A thorough knowledge of the Bible is worth more than a college education, Theodore Roosevelt said. Calvin Coolidge. The foundation of our society and our government rests so much on the teachings of the Bible that it would be difficult to support them if faith in these teachings would cease to be practically universal in our country. Herbert Hoover, not usually recognized as one of our great presidents, but he said a great thing. The study of the Bible is a postgraduate course in the richest library of human experience. Of the many influences that have shaped the United States into a distinctive nation and people, none may be said to be more fundamental and enduring than the Bible. President Ronald Reagan. The reason that Christianity is the best friend of government is because Christianity is the only religion that changes the heart. Thomas Jefferson. I consider a decent respect for Christianity among the best recommendations for public service. John Adams. And then, and I just picked these, there are about 20 of them I think I picked. Grover Cleveland, maybe not again as well known as some other presidents, says, all must admit that the reception of the teachings of Christ results in the purest patriotism and the most scrupulous fidelity to public trust and to the best type of citizenship. I wish we could get back to that high height again that Grover Cleveland admonished us to reach for. A couple of things that I want to mention before we watch the video, and that'll be the end of my presentation, and then after that we can have our announcements, is that I've left a little quiz back there on that little table. If you'd like to participate in that quiz, there's two questions. I didn't run enough for everybody to have one, but if you'd like to pick one of those up, maybe one of you, 3 or 4 of you can share the same one, or if they disappear and you want one, I can tell you what the questions are, and there will be a slight financial remuneration for someone who gets that turned into me by but not before 1 o'clock. So don't hand me anything before then. But there are a couple of questions back there that might take you a little time to do some research. If you're interested in doing that, I'd be glad for you to do that. At this time, can we get the video back there, Mike?